Okay, hello. First, I will tell you that there is a link in the comments section that will demonstrate how to find technology anywhere in the country that cures early stage prostate cancer without hospital stay, surgery, or harmful side effects. That technology cured me in 2007. Now, on to the main topic of this presentation. In previous presentations, I have said life as we know it in the United States is about to end. And I still believe that. It appears that the felon is going to do to the country exactly what he has done to many companies previously associated with him. That is, micromanage to financial ruin by making decisions not well thought out. And in this video, you will see that the felon has changed the order on tariffs for electronics and semiconductor areas from China. Before that reversal came out, I had done a little research on my own in some areas, and I knew that China and Taiwan basically are the source for computer and electronic components to the world, but the felon was ignorant in that area. You also see reciprocal tariffs in this video imposed on the U.S. by other countries, and some of the items possibly affected. Now, the felon needs to be stopped and is on the edge of ruining America. And I suspect the Constitution was intended to protect the country from people like the felon, but they could not anticipate the chaos that exists now, or that he's bringing on us now. They made the incorrect assumption that anyone who rises to the office of President of the United States would have the country's interest on their mind, and that's not the case with the felon. The combined effects of the felon giving inflation a boost, coupled with his immigrant muskrat doing something that he's not qualified to do, that is running around the country randomly firing huge chunks of the civilian federal workforce, is basically stabbing Americans in the back all across the country, ruining lives independent of political party. Please watch the rest of this video.
The goalposts move again tonight in President Trump's trade war with China, with smartphones, computers, flat panel TV displays, semiconductor chips, and other electronics now exempt from 125% tariffs the president recently slapped on Chinese imports, with 20% tariffs announced earlier still remaining.
You see this headline and think what?
Yeah, it's a stunning reversal.
CNBC's Steve Kovac covers Apple, a company hit particularly hard by the escalating trade war. The tech giant assembles 90% of its iPhones in China and lost nearly $640 billion in value in 3 days as President Trump ramped up tariffs on the country. Apple not responding to our request for comment as the trade war whiplash increases.
They still have to grapple with how much to charge. Do they increase their prices on their laptops and other devices in order to keep their margins safe? Or do they eat those costs? We're not talking about $3,000 iPhones anymore, but we're not out of the woods yet.
Opening the door that other industries could see their own reprieve, Trump signing the order exempting many electronics late Friday night with no public announcement. The president asked late Friday whether he's waiting for China to initiate negotiations.
I guess so. Whatever it is, we have a lot of countries, not just China.
The president's about face on tariffs for key tech items comes just a week after one of his top economic advisors said this.
I don't think the word exemption is going to be a factor. I don't think that's such a thing.
Apple shoppers hoping this latest pivot keeps prices from soaring.
I feel like I shouldn't have to be checking the news every single day to make sure I can afford products that we've all been kind of accustomed to.
And while the new exemptions help big tech, they do nothing for small business owners like Anthony Bernis, co-CEO of Kentucky-based The Cooler Keg. His stainless steel portable kegerator is made in China, and now he says too expensive to import.
We're not on the NASDAQ. We're not part of Wall Street. Main Street is the one that's actually getting hit the hardest. But we're looking at what do we do in the long run.
Maggie Vespa joins us live outside the Apple store in Chicago. Maggie, so back to the electronic exemptions. What do we know about the impact on prices?
Yeah, so Jose, analysts say they could still go up. Remember, those 20% tariffs still remain. How much prices go up, that of course remains to be seen, but we should know in the coming months. Jose.
Now remember, this specific presentation, they are talking about consumer products. They're using Apple as an example because Apple is widely known all across the country, all across America. Everybody's familiar with Apple. And this the electronics that come from China, it's not just Apple. Our military, our United States, our entire country and our military is dependent upon the same technology that is in the Apple iPhone. Okay, we're dependent upon that technology as well. It's not just Apple products. It's also anything IT related, solid state devices, etc. Again, that's used by our military. So it's hurting the security of our country in that regard. Okay, now other countries may possibly band together against the Felon, and accordingly, that means they'd be banding against America as well. If they should form an alliance, that could severely cripple us. Remember, this was all started by the Felon. Here's a graphic showing countries that have implemented reciprocal tariffs on U.S. goods. Now note, the population of the United States is a little less than 15% of the population on the entire planet. But we consume much, much more than that of our share of the planet's resources. Because of that, we are very, very dependent on other countries on the planet for most things that we need or want. Looking at this slide, you see the countries that are implementing tariffs on U.S. goods. Vietnam, 46%. China, 34%. Taiwan, 32%. South Africa, 31%. India, 27%. Now, if anyone likes Polo brand clothing and many other discount clothing as well, you'll be hit hard in that area because clothing is often made in Vietnam. And you see China plans 34% tariff on the United States. If you buy items from a discount store, many of those items oftentimes come from China. So those discount stores may not, quote unquote, discount that much anymore. And Taiwan basically is the world source of materials needed for our technology and has a lock on rare minerals, on the rare minerals market. And India is a major global supplier of generic medicines. So, generic medications stand by for an increase in prices. And that's just one example. Or just a few examples of how we could possibly be impacted by reciprocal tariffs. South Korea, Japan. South Korea, 26%. Japan, 24%. The UK, 10%. The EU, 20%. Brazil, 10%. Now, I'll start with Japan. That's a really big one. 24%. If your car that comes from Japan is going to increase by 24%, that's a huge chunk. And not only is it new cars, but also accordingly, used car dealers are going to be selling used cars for higher prices too, because they can be asking for higher prices compared to new cars. Okay, in this presentation, you have seen discussion on the Felon's reversal on tariffs in portions of the technology sector. One thing as a reminder, there's a link in the comments section adjacent to this video that will demonstrate how to find technology anywhere in the country that cures early stage prostate cancer without hospital stay, surgery, or harmful side effects. That technology cured me in 2007, and I'm doing the best I can to give it as much publicity as possible. Okay, now again, you have seen the Felon's reversal of tariffs on technology-related items from China. If the Felon's decisions were well thought out and he knew how to work with other humans, then other countries would not be against America as they currently are. Thank you for watching.